Now we go into module 3. So now we are looking at financing and investments. So what is the difference between financing and investment? Yeah? What is financing? Financing means what? You want to get money, right? You get money from where? Either debt or equity or capital structure. So financing has to do with something on debt and equity. What is investment? What do you mean for your capital? Invest means you put in money somewhere to get more money in future, right? In simple terms. Okay, so it's for your future returns. Okay, so this is what we're going to look at. And these are some of the key objectives. The various types of short-term, intermediate-term financing, long-term debt and equity financing, business sources, a bit on capital budgeting techniques. This capital budgeting usually refers to investments in items that last more than one financial year. What many of us are familiar with is the yearly operating expense budget, OPEX budget, right? Whereas this is a CAPEX budget. All right? Now, you also notice that in terms of evaluating investments, most finance books will say the NPV method is the best. So we'll go through why they say that and the various methods, some key methods that we look at like NPV, IRR and all those things. Why usually finance book says NPV is the best. Although in real life, people may not rely just on one method. Okay. Look at this idea, money has time value, has a time value. So $1 received today is worth more than $1 to be received in the future. Why? $1 today is worth more than $1 next year. Why? Okay, that is a very typical answer. Do you agree, no? The rest of you? Some of you may say inflation. Some of you may say the government is getting worse and worse. Sorry, I'm not saying about this government or what. I'm just saying some people get more pessimistic, right? Or they may say, oh, things will get worse if the US presidency moves in a certain direction. Things get more uncertain, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we put that aside. Okay, there are so many factors that determine what you can buy $1. You go to any uncles and aunties that we have today, and I'm sure all of us lament. When you grow up in your earlier days, right? Maybe with RM1, you could buy a nice packet of nasi lemak. Today, with the RM1, a standard 1 kid may not be interested as well. To you, in your earlier days, maybe you can use that RM1 up to standard 5 or standard 6, right? Today, you go and buy one nasi lemak, oh dear, maybe RM5, you can hardly get 2 pieces of ikan bilis. I'm exaggerating a bit. But when we say time value of money, we're not talking about that. We are talking about opportunity cost. It's like this. If you give me $1 today, I can invest somewhere, right? If I get a rate of return of 10%, next year I will get $1.10, right? You follow me so far? That's why we say $1 today is worth more than $1 next year. Because I can use that money and invest somewhere and get some returns. So theoretically, if the rate of return is 10%, whether I get $1 today or whether I get 110 next year, is the same. You follow me so far? Okay. So let me say it again. $1 today, 10% discount rate or 10% required rate of return. So let me ask you another question. If you have to choose between two options, option 1 is $1 today. Option A. Option B is $1.08 next year. Which one do you prefer? A. Why A?
Cash is bigger compared to
Cash only $1 or B is bigger, right?
I mean like
Future money.
10% compared to 1.3.
Okay. Bernice, what do you think?
But A is, if you touch the 10% is 1.1.
1.10. A should be better. Okay, our online friends, what do you think? So far, people say A is better. Huh? Two of you say A is better. Shazza, what do you think?
A is better.
Why?
Because of the 10%.
All right. So we say the future value of $1 today in 1 year's time is 110. So we compare apple with apple, right? The future value in 1 year's time. Huh? So if you draw a diagram, this $1 today, if you project to next year's future value, we calculated just now is 110, right? Okay. Now you're comparing option A versus option B. Option B is saying in 1 year's time, I give you 108. Obviously, you choose option A if you are receiving. If you are paying, you choose option B. Now, here's another twist again. Huh? Inflow, of course, you prefer higher. Outflow, you prefer lower, right? So don't always say, oh, higher always better. Oh, lower always better. No, depends. And this is where I think this group is a bit more alert now. The previous sessions, right? After I explain, okay, whether $1 today or 110 next year, you're indifferent. If it's a 10% opportunity cost. Then my next question is something like that. So if 108 versus $1 today, which one you prefer? Sure, 108 what? I say, why? Because 108 is higher than 1. You need to compare apple. You cannot compare apple, oranges. Okay, clear? Okay, so these are some storytelling part. Just understand the key concepts, right? We begin with some short-term instruments. Okay, some short-term instruments, sources of funds for businesses. Short-term refers to items that are less or within 1 financial year. So one of them will be money market. These are very short-term. It can be from a day to a week, a month. Okay, they are traded in the money market. The capital market will be for a longer period of time. Money market, very short term. You pay a pre-specified amount at maturity, which is the face value, and usually there is no intermediate interest payment. What does that mean? So, timeline again. You're now here. Let's say in 6 months' time, the item matures. All right? So let's say you go into some short-term debt instrument, some kind of money market instrument, whereby you agree that you pay the face value of $100 in 6 months' time. What it means is you're obtaining the financing, right? You have to pay back $100 in 6 months' time. Now, you will receive a certain amount today for the financing. In between 1 month, 2 months, usually there is no intermediate interest payment. So usually you pay only one shot, $100 upon maturity. You get the idea? Anybody doesn't understand? Okay. Now, upfront here, you get a certain dollar amount. Is this amount going to be $100? Less than $100 or more than $100? Less than. Anyone has a contrarian view? Why do you say less than?
Let's say coming from example of a bank review. Today I lend you 500,000. 6 months time, my BA is being due. I need to pay the interest of 8% times the coming number of days. So I need times the period. So the additional part is actually the interest payment.
Correct. Time value of money. So it has to be time value of money. I am in need of money. You have the money. So I come begging from you. You give me a certain amount. So if you give me $100 today, in 6 months' time, most likely I will have to pay you more than $100. Otherwise, you won't go into that business with me, right or not? You are in that business of buying and selling all the time as a middleman. So you get your sources of funds, all that, of which I'm no expert. You are the one, right? So if the agreement is that I'm going to pay you $100 in 6 months' time, you're not going to give me $100 today. You may be giving me 90, 95, or 80, whatever, depends on how you do your calculation. The idea is time value of money. Okay? So if there happens to be a question involving some calculation, blah, 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 asking you to compare several instruments, and one of them happens to be a money market instrument, don't go and be a busybody and start estimating the interest in between, because your study module here says this kind of instrument usually has no intermediate interest payment. Are we okay?